We are live. What is up, YouTube and the comic community? Edwin the Comic Jabroni coming at you. Today is the 20th of September, 2 days after New Comic Book Day. As you guys saw, hopefully you saw yesterday, I dropped my Image and Indie pickups and review video. And today I felt like going over Marvel and DC since that was a bigger haul for me. If you saw that video from yesterday, you know that I only picked up 4 books from Marvel and DC. I only picked up 4 books from Image and Indies. It was a light week. There was a lot of books out there that I just didn't, really didn't speak to me, didn't really want to get into them. But those 4 books that I did get were excellent. And I can't wait to read more into those series. But for DC and Marvel, I picked up 4 from each publisher. And you're probably going to know, especially from Marvel, you're probably going to know which 4 those are, man, because everybody's been picking up pretty much the same books. You do have your guys out there that are picking up more books than others. But for me, I guess I don't pick up the least amount of books, and I also don't pick up the most amount of books. But the books that I do pick up, I truly enjoy them. Can't wait to read them every week, and I'm happy to put them into my personal collection. As always, well, not as always, I guess for about the past few weeks or month, I've been using Comic Book Roundup to show you the scores from critics and users as well. I think it's just a good way to look at reviews from critics and from users like myself and yourself, who read the books. Yo, Daniel Arzola, what is up, my man? Thank you for joining me. We're going over DC and we're going over Marvel today, the books that I picked up on Wednesday. So as far as Comic Book Roundup, man, I'm gonna put this up on the screen. This is a website that I've been using for years now, man, probably since I got back into the comic collecting game, man, for maybe 4 years, 5 years now. And it's just a good way to see some reviews, see what critics are thinking, see what users are thinking. Sometimes you will see that both are on the same train of thought on the book. And then sometimes you do see a big difference. Users, right? Comic book readers are liking the book more than critics, or critics are liking it more than the readers are. I differ in some, and we'll talk about that today. But I'm going to start off with DC, man, because Marvel, I feel like Marvel had the bigger titles this week. The meat and potatoes, man, came from Marvel. So we're going to start with DC. First book I want to talk about is Year of the Villain, Lex Luthor. So if I come on over here, you'll see it right there. Year of the Villain, Lex Luthor, #1. Writer is Jason Latour, artist Brian Hitch, and Andrew Curry. If you scroll over, you see 7.3 critic rating, user rating. Man, see what I was talking about is it's about the same, a 7.4. But what can I say about the book? I have been kind of diving deep into this whole Year of the Villain, right? Lex Luthor has become this apex predator. He has absorbed the powers and the mind of the Martian Manhunter. And he is trying to resurrect and bring back the powers of Perpetua, who is kind of the god of all gods. She's the one that created the multiverse. She is the mother of the Anti-Monitor and the World Forger, right? So what is Year of the Villain, Lex Luthor, #1? It's just a one-shot. Yo, Second Street Marvel, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us, brother. I'm going over DC first, and then we'll get into Marvel after that. So I kind of want to run through these. As you can see here, I got us up on Comic Book Roundup, kind of giving you a little perspective on what others are thinking as well. So Lex Luthor, in this book, he is going through the different multiverses and killing the other versions of himself in these other Earths. But the one thing that I see is that he has taken up like the child, like he has kind of in one of the universes that he goes to, he's actually a child in that universe, and he takes the child, instead of killing the child, he takes him and they go into other multiverses, and he's kind of teaching him his ways. There's a kind of a big twist ending, which I really enjoyed, because in the books, in a couple of these multiverses, they talk about how there's this alien like plant that connects itself to the human and puts him into like this dreamlike state. And that has a big part to play later on in the book, which I don't want to spoil for you. But what I want to say is a 7.3, 7.4, that's about what I think it is. I think anywhere between a 7 to an 8. It was an enjoyable read. If you've been into Justice League, Year of the Villain versus the Legion of Doom, Lex Luthor, you're going to enjoy this book because it definitely gives you more of that story, right? It adds to the story. Do I think they're going to touch on it later? I think so. I think what you see in this book, we will see from Lex Luthor going forward in other mainstream titles. This one shot is pretty important in my opinion. I like this book. We got Big OFGCU42. What's up, man? Thanks for joining, brother. I'm just going over my DC and my Marvel books. We're starting off with DC. Went over that first one, right? Year of the Villain, Lex Luthor. Next book up on the list is going to be Flash Forward issue number 1. Writer is Scott Lobdell, artist Brett Booth, and Norm Ratmund. So I enjoyed Heroes in Crisis a little bit, and I've got us up on Hack79. What's up, man? Thanks for joining, brother. So I got us up on Comic Book Roundup. As you can see, 6.2 from critics. Users like a little bit better, 7.4. For me, I'd say a 7. I'm going to tell you the truth right now. Wally West was never one of my favorites. Like, he is the favorite Flash of a lot of people, of a whole generation, right? Because Barry Allen dies in the 80s, and Wally West is the only Flash for a very long time until they resurrected and brought Barry Allen back, which was in the 2000s or something, I think. So this is the story after Heroes in Crisis. And I read Heroes in Crisis. I liked it. I thought it could have been better, especially the ending. And that's usually how it goes with big miniseries or series like that, right? It could be better by the end. But Flash Forward was pretty good because this is after Heroes in Crisis, where he has been imprisoned for the death and killing these other superheroes that were at Sanctuary, right? Where heroes go to kind of relax, be able to talk to somebody about their experiences. And he's in prison, and this guy here, Tempest Fagult or something like that, gets him out of the prison to actually help him go and fix something in the multiverse. Flash Forward number 1. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be picking up any more of them. I wanted to pick this one up because I thought this cover was amazing. This In-Hyuk Lee cover. That's a beautiful cover, man. In-Hyuk Lee definitely does some very beautiful covers. But as far as the story goes, like I said, Wally West was never one of my favorite characters. Like, the Flash is cool. I like Barry Allen. And a lot of it has to do is because I watched the show, right? The Flash on the CW. So that Flash is Barry Allen. It is not Wally West. So Wally West is not one of my favorites. I probably won't be picking up any more Flash Forward. But if you kind of dug Heroes in Crisis and you want to know more about what is going on with Wally West after the events of that, then definitely pick up Flash Forward. I think it's only going to be, what is it? I think it actually says it here, a 6-part, 6-issue maxi or mini series. I'm not exactly sure. Is that the same Tempest guy from the Signal series? I believe it is. Somebody else, and I think it might have been you, Big O, that actually said that to me. It's the guy from, was it Signal or another series that you told me about where he is, he shows up. I think it is. He is kind of a god of the multiverse. It just, every time I read these DC books, it's always, there's another god, there's somebody else, there's somebody bigger than that person. There's always somebody bigger. And like, he's a god of the multiverse. But if you read Justice League, you got Perpetua, who is the goddess of all, she's the one that created all the multiverses. So I'm not exactly sure. That it gets confusing is what I'll say, man. It definitely gets confusing. Flash Forward, though, hey, like I said, if you like Wally West, you like the Flash, you want to know more about what's going on after Heroes in Crisis, then pick up Flash Forward, because I think they're definitely going to be diving in deeper into the psyche and what is going on in Wally West's head, man. Sideways. There you go. Sideways. I think that's what it was called. Hey, Jeff Comic 813, one of my Floridian brothers. What's up, man? How are you doing, dog? We are going over DC and Marvel. I got two more from DC. Next up from DC, we've got Teen Titans issue number 34. I really like this cover. I got the B cover on this. It's written by Adam Glass. Artist is Bernard Chang. I like this cover because it really tells you kind of what's going on in this issue, man. You know, they finished up with the whole Robin had the prison for villains underneath their headquarters, and then after that they fought Lobo, which we know is Crush's father. But now they're getting into the aftermath of them. Of that. The Teen Titans do not trust Robin, Damian Wayne, because of what happened with the prison, right? He didn't tell anybody except for Red Arrow, and she has quit the team. She killed Deathstroke, she quit the team, and she is gone. So what happens in Teen Titans, if you've been reading Teen Titans, you haven't, the Djinn, who is that character right there in the middle, she is a genie. And what we usually know is genies have lamps, right? And whoever has the lamp takes control of the genie. But in her case, it's not a lamp, it's a ring. And she rocks the ring at all times. There was an earlier issue where she actually gave that ring to Damian Wayne because she's actually stronger when she is in possession by somebody else. So she gave the ring to Robin to use, and he gave it right back, right? Well, at the very beginning, always another being better than the other. Yeah, exactly, Big O, with the gods. There's always one god that's better than another god. So here we go. On Comic Book Roundup, you see that critics gave it a 7.5 and the users gave it an 8.0. And I'm right there with it, man. 8.5 is probably my range. You find out in this issue that the Djinn has had her ring stolen. So they lock down the Teen Titans headquarters so that Robin can go around and investigate people, investigate the rest of the Titans to see who could have done it, right? Who was fast enough? Well, they have a Flash on the team. Is he fast enough? Or who is somebody that we don't really know about and could do something like this? And that's going to be Roundhouse, right? We don't really know much about Roundhouse. He could have it in him to do that. Or Crush. You know, Crush is strong enough, and she maybe Crush, because she's kind of in love with the Djinn. Maybe she wants to take that ring and make it to where the Djinn is always with her at all times. There's a huge twist at the end, right? If you've been reading Teen Titans, these characters, I've fallen in love with these characters and this team, and there's a really big twist at the end that I don't want to spoil it for you. And I actually brought it up with Perry on Instagram. I was like, Perry, did you read it? Because that ending is, I couldn't believe it. So somebody stole the ring, and they tell you who it is at the end. And when you see who it is at the end, you're like, whoa. There's no way. There's no way. How is it that this character did that? So I don't want to give that up. But man, Teen Titans has been phenomenal series, dude, since, they created this new team, man. And Robin as the leader, he's very dedicated and motivated to do what he wants to do, right? And it's a lot from the teaching of Batman and from Ra's al Ghul and his mother. And the rest of the team members aren't really like that, so he hasn't learned to be the leader that I think he should be. But man, dude, Teen Titans 34, that's an issue that I think, or Teen Titans in general, is a series I think a lot of people really should be getting into. I don't think it gets talked about as much as it should. So I got one more book. This is really my big one. I'm always excited to read this, and that's going to be Justice League issue number 32. I'm going to put that up on the screen really big there. So I'm definitely, I like this cover. The only thing I don't like about this cover, and if you guys watch my Tuesday show on like what to buy on Wednesday, is Wonder Woman's face right there. If you see, it looks like, her chin is a little, I don't know, disfigured or something. It looks a little weird to me. But other than that, I think that cover is amazing, man. So this is just continuation of the Year of the Villain. We're going to move over here to Comic Book Roundup. Critics and users are digging the hell out of this series, man. 8.6 from critics, 8.5 from users. Myself, I'm at the 8.5 to 9.0, you have a split of the team of the Justice League. You have some team members that are in the present, and they're trying to fight and stop Perpetua and Lex Luthor from getting to the end, to the Source Wall to go and recruit the Anti-Monitor, right? Both teams, the Legion of Doom and the Justice League, are trying to recruit the Anti-Monitor to their team. But then you have a team of heroes in the future, which is going to be the Trinity, right? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. They're in the future trying to get a shard to come back and stop Perpetua, a crystal shard that's part of the key to her. Then you have a team in the past, right? And it's going to be Green Lantern and the Flash. They're in the past in like the 1940s trying to do the same thing. They're trying to get this crystal shard that's part of Perpetua's power. I like the past more than I'm really digging the future, right? In the past, you have these two members, right? You got John Stewart, Green Lantern, and the Flash teaming up with the Justice Society of America, right? And on that team, if you remember, they have a Flash and they have a Green Lantern, but they're totally different from each other, right? So I dig that dynamic. I really like it. Again, they try to throw you a twist at the end. It doesn't really work out as well as I think they planned or they really wished it would have. Because you kind of see it. You kind of see it coming, man, this ending. But Justice League has been great. I've been picking it up. So after Dark Knight Metal, they went into Justice League No Justice. It was a 4-part little mini series that kind of took what happened in Dark Knight Metals, they added onto it, and then after that ended, then they started this new Justice League series with Martian Manhunter being kind of the leader of the Justice League. In my head, I'd always thought that Superman was the leader of the Justice League, but they made Martian Manhunter the leader. Daniel Arzola says, crap, forgot to pick up Teen Titans. Dude, definitely go back and go pick up Teen Titans. It's an incredible series, and this story arc is going to be great. I want to know where they're going with the Djinn and, who has her ring and what he plans on doing. And I just gave some away. It's a he. So anyways, guys, Justice League issue 32. It's great. I think that this is written by James Tynion and Scott Snyder, man. They're both on this, writing this. It's already been solicited out until issue 38, this whole year of the villain, because right now you got, or it's not on this one, but if you see on the screen, the Evil Unleashed, and then after that, they're going to get into a different part of Year of the Villain. But at some point, you're going to have the Justice League and the Legion of Doom just fighting it out, guys. I cannot wait to read more of that. It's been great. I'd give it an 8.5 to a 9, but that's just because you could call me a DC homer if you want, especially a Batman homer. Hey, that's what it is. It is what it is. I'm a big fan of DC, although as you guys can tell from my videos, I collect it all. But DC is my bread and butter. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I've been on it for a while, but the last two I missed out. Hey, Teen Titans is a series that I'm pretty sure is still at your LCS. Like you can go to the LCS and it's probably still there. And the great thing about, the local comic shop that I go to, because I'm a subscription, I have a pull box there. Any back issues that are less than $10, you get 10% off on them. So especially with Teen Titans, you could probably go to your LCS and, like me, I'd go to the LCS and get 10% off of what the listed price is because it's been there, for a month or whatever, 2 weeks to a month. Yo, Super Russ 9000, man. Thanks for joining me, brother. Going live on Fridays now, guys. That's something else I wanted to talk about. Fridays, I'm going to be going live. We're going to be talking about new comic book day pickups, whether it be Image and Indies or DC and Marvel like we're doing today. Next week, depending on what books I get more of, we'll go live on Friday, and I'll do an edited video on Thursday, drop that one. Let me know if this is something that you guys are digging or you'd rather watch edited videos. I have noticed that my live shows, do just as well or better than my edited videos as far as views, man. And I appreciate everybody that watches my videos. I got into this not thinking, I'm just going to go on. I'm going to talk about comics. And if people like it, cool. And if they don't, I'm going to do it because I need to let the world know about Edwin the Comic Jabroni's love for comics. So, hey, Super Russ, man, thanks. Sounds cool, man. That's what he says. So let's get into Marvel. For anybody that's just joining, guys, I go over on Fridays my pickups, but I also use Comic Book Roundup, this website right here that you can see up on the screen. I think it's better if I do it like bam, like that. You can see it a little bit easier. I use this website. It just takes all reviews from different online sources and kind of combines them together to make one score for you. But it also gives us, the reader of comics, the ability to go on there and rate the book yourself. You can review it yourself and you can write reviews and you can score it. And then they use that number for user reviews. I think it's an awesome website. I've been using it for a very, very long time, man. So let's get into the Marvel books. First up from Marvel, we've got Jane Foster Valkyrie. So I really enjoyed the first 2 issues of Jane Foster Valkyrie, right? I'm going to open this up on Comic Book Roundup and show you guys what others are thinking. And it might surprise you, man. There you go. 9.2 critics and an 8.1 from the users, man. So, critics and users are really enjoying it. I like the first 2 issues written by Jason Aaron, right? So Jason Aaron's been writing Thor for a very long time. And if you see that second writer, Al Ewing is on Immortal Hulk, and he has been killing it on that series, right? So you would imagine that both of those 2 together are going to write an incredible story for Jane Foster Valkyrie. And that really is Midwest Comic Man, thank you for joining me, man. Second Street Marvel says, I do a mix of live and edited videos. That's pretty much what I'm going to be doing from now on. A mixture of edited, because I still enjoy editing videos. I enjoy recording them, kind of watching them over, laughing at some of my mess ups. And that's what I get scared going live, or get nervous, I guess, because sometimes I mess up, guys. I say some things that are stupid, or I bumble a lot. And that edited videos give me the chance to cut that out, right? Let me get some water. Again, thank you everybody that's showing up for the live show just to watch me talk about some comic books. No whiskey yet for anybody that's thinking that. I'll save that for tonight. But Jane Foster Valkyrie, those first 2 issues, she kind of got a better grasp of what her powers are now as the last Valkyrie. And in this issue, and let me say something. This cover, that's a beautiful dang cover. I really like that cover right there with her riding that Pegasus. But this issue, she is now having to take Heimdall, right? Is the god of seeing, or the seer. She's having to take him into the afterlife, right? And I'm giving a little bit of a spoiler, but Heimdall dies. I don't want to tell you how he dies, because you're just going to have to go and read issue number 2. But yeah, Super Russ, I always get nervous doing live vids myself, man. I get nervous. I have to kind of pump myself up. And I don't know why. I don't know why that is, especially when I'm by myself too, man. Because when I do live shows with Rod and Perry, I don't feel that nervousness because I'm talking with some buddies like them. But you guys are all my friends too, man. And I appreciate you showing up. Who do we got here? Lizzie the Lizard. Hello. Thank you for joining me, Lizzie. We are going over New Comic Book Day. We've gotten into Marvel, the first book, Valkyrie Jane Foster. So Valkyrie now has to take Heimdall into the afterlife, right? And she's going through different parts of kind of like different realms. She goes through heaven, and then she goes through what they call hell in these books. And she's getting them to a part of this a new realm that, even as a Valkyrie, she can't go into, and it's only going to be Heimdall, and it's him going through this progression. It's a great series. I really like it. Jane Foster Valkyrie. I'm going to continue to pick it up because I think Jason Aaron and I really believe Al Ewing are doing a fantastic job with this character, man. Jane Foster, when she was Thor, I thought that series was great. And then now that, she's not Thor anymore, she has beaten cancer. She has taken on the mantle of being the last Valkyrie. I think she's doing they are doing a great job of writing this story. And I can't wait to see more, because this is kind of a new take on an older character of Valkyrie, because Valkyrie has been around for a very long time, but she's starting to see new powers that we have never seen before. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that. let's continue on. Next book is a newer book. This is Spider-Man issue number 1. I'm actually going to, bam, I'm going to show you that. This is the B. Is this the B cover? Well, it has an 8. So what does that mean? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. This is the H cover, I guess you could say, right? If you guys didn't know, if you look down here in the barcode, you'll see 3 numbers at the very end, right? I'm going to see if I can get that as close as I can. I don't know if it's going to, no, it's not going to show. So if you look down there at the bottom, in this issue, you see a 1, an 8, and a 1, right? So that first number that you see, that's the issue number, right? The second number that you see is the number of the variant, right? If there's a 1 in there, that's the A cover. If there's a 2, that's the variant or the B cover, and on and on and on and on. And then the very last number is the printing, right? So you get second prints, and that last number would be a number 2. But for this, it's a 1, right? So it's the first print. Just dropping a little knowledge. I learned that when I first got into this, and I think it's great for people to know those things, because when you look at some of these books and you go out and to buy them, you're like, damn, is this the second print? Because sometimes the first and the second are exactly the same cover. There might just be a little difference, but you can look at that barcode and it will tell you, if it's a first, second, third, whatever, 100th print. So Spider-Man, written by J.J. Abrams and his son, Henry Abrams, and the artist is Sara Pichelli. If you look at this cover right there, you got Spider-Man fighting the new villain. So this book has a first appearance in it, and his name is Cadaverous. So I'm going to pull it up on Comic Book Roundup, and critics and users are not a fan, right? We got a 6.9 from critics. We got a 6.3 from the users. But I'm going to tell you, just in my opinion, I enjoyed this read. It is, I think, a 5 or 6 part miniseries, but depending on how well this series does, they might continue on with it. It is kind of a different universe, right? It's not the 616 universe that we know in this, and we might be getting into some spoilers, guys. Might be getting into a little spoiler territory. But at the very beginning of this book, you got Spider-Man, I think, on the Brooklyn Bridge, fighting this Cadaverous, who is able to create like these replicas of himself, these robots, right? And he's fighting, and Mary Jane, for some reason, is on that bridge with him, and he's fighting, and he's beat up, man. Peter Parker Spider-Man is beat up to the point, man, they show his arm in there, and it's like bone, and his arm is broken and it's bleeding, and he ends up losing the arm later on in this issue. But you see a death. You see somebody die in this at the very beginning of this book. And then they kind of fast forward after this fight. They fast forward, and now it's 15 years in the future, and you see Peter Parker and his son, right? And this is more a book about his son and how he is now maybe getting the spider powers that Peter Parker's getting. I enjoyed it. I think the artwork is fantastic. I do have to say that artwork is fantastic. Did any of you guys pick up Spider-Man issue number 1? There was a bunch of covers for it. If you can, they had the A cover, which I wasn't a fan of. It had Mary Jane on the cover. Wasn't really a fan of it. They had a B cover that was a die cut cover, which I thought was a really nice cover. But I saw this one, and I said, first appearance of a new villain. Let me go ahead and grab the cover that has the villain on it, right? First appearance of the villain, first cover appearance of the villain. And it's not a cameo. You see him quite a lot in the book. I don't want to give spoilers away for it. I try to stay away from that. I try to give you enough of the book to kind of maybe, hey, should I get this book? Should I not? Let's see what Edwin says. I enjoyed it. I am going to get this series. As far as Spider-Man goes, I haven't been picking up a ton of Spider-Man recently. I dropped Amazing Spider-Man. I've been picking up Miles Morales Spider-Man, but that's Miles, and it's not Peter Parker. So as far as Peter Parker goes, I haven't been picking up the main series. I pick up these offshoot kind of different series for him, like that Velocity that came out that's in the same universe as the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. I like that universe because I played that game and it was fantastic. So I want to know more about that Peter Parker. So Nick Vitale, smart man. I picked up the same cover for the same reason. Hey, exactly. I'm actually going to, put that up on the screen, guys. First appearance of a villain. Let's go ahead and grab the first cover appearance as well, man. So I thought it was good. I'm going to continue on with it. I know, like I said, yo, DMZE Gaming, what's up, man? Thanks for joining, brother. If you guys didn't know, DMZ Gaming has an Instagram page. Fantastic Instagram page. Definitely go and follow him on there. So some people have been panning this issue. Regular cover has terrible art, and yes, it's the one I bought. So yep, that's what I was saying. Although it's Sarah Pacelli that drew the A cover, and the interior artwork is amazing. I don't know why the cover doesn't look as well. It doesn't look as good as the interior artwork. But to each his own. Buy what you guys like. Read what you like. Buy what you like. Right? And that's how it goes, I think. Anyways, guys, Spider-Man, I'm going to continue on. Some people didn't like it, like I showed you on the screen, but I enjoyed it. I think it's a great read. I'm going to be picking up, I guess, the next 4 issues. I think it's a 5-part. What I really, before I go on, and this is the reason why I edit my videos, man, because I start thinking of other things that I want to do and talk about, and then bam, I get into a tangent. It looks slapped together. Oh, the A cover you're talking about, Second Street? Yeah, it kind of does. Like she drew, and like Peter's portraying it. Like maybe she drew Spider-Man and then she drew Mary Jane, and then through a computer, like whatever, she kind of copy and pasted them together. I don't know. I think this one by Ramos, I think that's who drew it, right? Yeah, by Ramos. I think this is a better cover. So at the end of it, though, it talks about how long it took to get Marvel to actually have J.J. Abrams to write this story. They'd been working on this for a long time. Marvel kept going back to J.J. Abrams like, hey, you want to write, you want to write for us? You want to write a comic book? You want to write? And then he finally, after like a year or two, hit them back up saying, I have an idea. For a comic book. And so it goes through that. At the very end of this, you see it's like a page of dialogue where they're actually going through the process of what he has in mind. So I'm very interested to see where J.J. Abrams is going to take Spider-Man. I didn't like Peter's portrayal in it. You're talking about the Olivier Coipel did the A cover. I thought it was Sarah Pacelli. If it is, I apologize. I thought it was Sarah Pacelli did the A cover and Olivier Coipel did another one. But you could be right. From Heroes to Icons. You could be right. You're probably right. You didn't like his portrayal in the book, or you didn't like it on the cover? Because in the book, I can see the reason he's acting the way he acts after that 15-year period is because of what happens at the very beginning of the book. And I'm not going to ruin, I don't want to spoil that for you if you haven't picked up your books. But because of what happens at the beginning, his whole demeanor and the way he acts changes. And I think I can see where he's going. And I like different takes on characters, man. I get it. I don't like it. Like I said, not everybody's going to like every book. It'll continue to be on my pull list, but Second Street Marvel is on the other side for me. But that's the beauty of comics, guys, that we can read the same thing and have different opinions on it, and we can still be friends. So next up, I got 2 books left. You guys probably know what 2 Marvel books I've got left. So I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull it up on Mortal Biggie Shaq. What up, bruh? What's going on, man? Just going over my new comic book day pickups and reviews. We went over DC. So if you missed that, definitely check out the replay when it uploads. Going over Marvel, I got 2 books left, and they're going to be the big 2. And I'm thinking, which one do I go over first? I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm going to go over first. And that's actually going to be Absolute Carnage. It's over here. Bam. Absolute Carnage, issue number 3. So, written by Donny Cates. Artwork is done by Ryan Stegman. I grabbed this Pepe Larraz. Is this the C cover or D? I don't know. I don't know what letter cover it is, but it is the cover that shows something major that happens in the book. So, spoiler alert. the symbiote takes over the Hulk, right? So this is just, it's issue number 3 of a 4-part, is it 4 or 5-part series for Absolute Carnage, where Carnage is going around trying to take the codex, right? The symbiote codex of anybody that's ever worn a symbiote. And the way he's doing this is actually by ripping their spines out and taking the codex that way. I hate grabbing tie-in issues. I'm really not a fan of it, but the more I read this Absolute Carnage, the more it feels like you have to read, or you kind of have to get into some of the tie-ins for Absolute Carnage. On Comic Book Roundup, we see an 8.7 from critics. We see a 9.1 from users. I'm in that boat. 9.0 for me. I think the artwork is fantastic. The story keeps adding on, and you don't think it's gonna. You think it's gonna stop. Like, oh, they can't get better, but it gets better and better. I just heard one of the doors in my house go bang, and I don't know what that was. Anybody else on here? Did you guys grab Absolute Carnage number 3? And which cover did you pick up? Did you grab just the A? I'm usually a fan of just grabbing the A cover, but when it's a cover like this that shows the Hulk being taken over by a symbiote, and it's the first time, and we're going to get into this, the first time that the Hulk has been taken over by a symbiote. Edwin, did you see that Justice League Odyssey 13 variant? I had to get it just for the cover. Is that the one with that, is that the one with the guy looks like he's in a baseball stance? I think that's the one you're talking about. No, I did not. I haven't been on Justice League Odyssey. Honestly, I've picked up like one issue, and I wasn't a fan of it. So here's the thing about this issue is now all the heroes, Avengers, like almost not everybody, but a lot of the heroes that have ever been taken over by a symbiote, they are now at the science lab of the maker, who is Reed Richards, I think from the Ultimates universe, because he has a machine that can take this codex out of people without actually killing them the way Carnage wants to do. So he's starting well, not him. It's actually Bruce Banner that is starting the process because the maker has ran off. If you've read Venom, you know that the maker, he's gone right now. Yeah, Azrael. There you go. Azrael. Thank you, DMZ Gaming. Azrael. So Bruce Banner, they're in this lab, and they're starting to take the codex out of the different heroes. So you see Captain America in there, and you see a few other heroes, and Spider-Man Peter Parker is there, and Venom, Eddie Brock. And you see Eddie and his son. His son Dylan doesn't know he's his son yet. He shows up, and he has the Sleeper. So if you remember, if you read Venom, the Sleeper has now showed back up, and he is looking for he's looking for a host. He's looking for a host, and he has taken up the mantle of like a cat or something. I don't know. He's kind of just following Dylan around. But Venom and Eddie are starting to internally struggle with each other because Eddie doesn't want to kill anymore, right? He said he's done with this killing. And Olivia Copio. Oh, there you go. So he did do the Spider-Man #1. I apologize. Yeah, I thought it was Sarah Pacelli. I'm wrong. That's what happens sometimes when you go live. Got to go live. Let's do it live. So Eddie doesn't want to kill. Venom's like, no, we got to kill. We got to kill. We got to kill. So when they show up, when Carnage shows up at the end of this book to take the codexes from these heroes, the Venom symbiote says, to hell with it. You're not going to kill. My son's out there trying to get my attention. He really wants to open up that Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles box, and I told him, yes, we're going to do it. I just haven't had the opportunity to do it. So he says, to hell with it. I'm going to leave you. And then he goes over to Bruce Banner, and Bruce turns into the Hulk, the Immortal Hulk at that. And now you have what you see in that cover. You have the Hulk being taken over by a symbiote. What I really like about this cover is if you read, there's like different parts in there that you can read, and it talks about why it's only taken over parts of his body, and it's because Hulk is such a huge monster that the symbiote can only take over parts at a time, which I think that's a cool concept. Donnie Cates actually went on Twitter earlier today and said that this is the true first time that Hulk has been taken over by a symbiote. I know that there was a What If series back in, I think it was the second series of What If, where it said if the symbiote had actually taken over Spider-Man, and then later on in that read, the symbiote actually takes over Hulk. Well, Donnie Cates came out and said, what ifs, he said it. Hey, he said, what ifs don't matter. It's in this. But sometimes what ifs do matter, man, because those books are starting to pick up a lot of traction because Marvel's going to do a What If TV show. I'm really enjoying Absolute Carnage. I didn't think when it first came out, I was one of the ones that said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not picking it up. But when that issue number 1 came out, and I kept hearing, dude, What If volume 2, number 4. Yeah, that's the one. That is the one that I was talking about. But Donnie Cates said that this is the true in canon time Hulk takes over. But when issue number 1 came out, I was one of the ones that said, I'm not doing it, but it got such rave reviews and people were just all over it. I said, you know what? I got to go get it. And sure enough, damn it, it was awesome. Donnie Cates can definitely write his butt off, and Ryan Stegman's artwork, I don't know if it gets enough love, man, because Donnie Cates is doing such a great job on writing it that sometimes the artwork, people don't talk about it as much, but I think the artwork is just as great as the story. Beautiful. Yeah, Super Russ, I think so too. I think that What Ifs, especially now in an age where they're taking stories from those What Ifs and they're putting them into canon, right? Like Conan. Conan is now in the 616 universe. There was a What If Conan was in the modern age? That book blew up. The one where Conan fights Thor and meets Thor, that one's another book that blew up. So what ifs matter, in my opinion. I think in that aspect, Donnie Cates, he might be wrong. I think the market dictates. The market dictates what what matters or not, right? What people are spending money on, that's what matters. I definitely think. And that Jane Foster one, that is the first appearance. The Jane Foster. Oh, yeah. Jane Foster's Thor. There you go. That's another one, right? Like she was Thor back in those What Ifs, and that book blew up. Like, I don't know if that was $1 book before Jane Foster actually became Thor, but I'm pretty sure it was cheaper than what you can actually go and find it for now, right? So what ifs matter, guys. I'm with you on that. Donnie Cates, in that aspect, I believe he's not right. I believe he's wrong, but I think this is still a good book to go and get. Not even just for speculation matter. I think just because the story is fantastic in that. So, guys, let's get into the last book. We're gonna end it with a bang. That's going to be House of X, issue number 5. I grabbed just the A cover, regular A cover with Apocalypse on the cover there. I really like this cover there. We're going to move over to Comic Book Roundup and show you what people were thinking. 9.6 from critics, 9.4 from users. Everybody's loving it. Jonathan Hickman is doing the writing. Pepe Larraz is doing the artwork inside, and both of them are phenomenal. The writing is great, and the artwork is fantastic. Guys, did you pick up House of X? Have you been picking up House of X? There are some people in the community that aren't picking up House of X and aren't jumping on the hype train like I did. Willie Clement found the new Jane Foster Thor at half price for $4 like a month before news blew up. Man, congratulations on that. Sometimes it's just getting lucky when you go out there to hunt for comic books. It's happened to me, right? Here in San Antonio, we got stores that are called half-price books. Not everybody has them in their towns. We have them here. We probably got like 6 half-price books, and they actually have comic books at half-price books, and they sell them pretty cheap. Sometimes they have more expensive books that they know are expensive, and they keep them in this lock box, and you have to actually have somebody open the box and go through them, and the prices are going to be a little bit more expensive. But if you go through the regular issues, they got books for cheap. And I have gotten so super lucky finding books like my Captain Marvel issue 2014, I think it is, that first cameo appearance of Kamala Khan. I found it at a Half Price Books for $1.50, and that's a $300 book, man. So you can get lucky, guys. I'm not a Marvel man. I might branch out soon. Yeah, dude. You know, I'm a DC guy myself, but damn it, if Marvel isn't putting out some really good stories right now. I'm so glad that I jumped into this House of X. I've talked about it. I'm gonna go back onto the beautiful face of the jabroni. I've talked about it in videos in the past, right? I dropped X-Men after the whole X-Men versus Inhumans. I just wasn't a fan. I didn't pick up that Uncanny X-Men that started, I think, back in January. I didn't get into that. I'd heard a lot of rumors, rumblings, whatever you want to say, that it just wasn't a good series. People that were reading it said, it's not that great. But I'd been told by people at my LCS, by people online, by the comic community here on YouTube, that House of X was totally going to jumpstart X-Men back up, right? It was just going to start everything back at square one. And that's what it's done. Absolute Carnage is my favorite thing Marvel's doing right now. It would be for me if it wasn't for House of X. Powers of 10, I think, is one step lower than House of X. I think that the story that's in House of X has been fantastic. Repair Tech Tony, that Apocalypse cover is fantastic. Almost picked up a Magneto cover instead. That reveal in House of X 5 is incredible. Yeah, I think this cover is fantastic. I did see the connecting cover at my LCS. They had it, which is probably one of the first, because all the connecting covers that come out, they've always been sold out. But the one that came out for this, for House of X 5, it wasn't that great. You had Wolverine on the cover. It didn't entice me to get it, to buy it. So there was like 4 or 5 copies of it. So that I was definitely not in the boat by myself. There were other people that said, it's not a great cover. I think this Apocalypse cover is great. This is a big issue, though, because after what happened in House of X issue number 4 with the deaths that happened in that, people were wondering, what are they going to do? Are these X-Men actually dead? There's no way. They're bringing them back. How are they bringing them back? And this issue right here goes into it 100% right from the very jump. And it makes a lesser known mutant 100% important, like one of the most important mutants of all time. And that's going, and you're going to laugh, that's going to be Gold Balls. Yo, Big Lion Cat, what's up, my man, my Puerto Rican brother from New York? Well, I hadn't read X-Men for years till this run. Pretty much same story for me. Just been waiting for it probably to get interesting again. I think it definitely lives up so far. I dropped it for a long time. But anyways, Gold Balls, whose first appearance is in Series 5, X-Men issue number 1. That's his first appearance. It makes him super important because his mutant ability was just to create these gold balls that like kind of came out of his chest, right? And he could create as many of them as he wanted. And nobody really ever knew, like, what are they? What are they? Well, in House of X issue number 5, you get a better understanding of what those are. And we find out that they're actually used as eggs. So that's how they bring back these heroes. So spoiler alert, guys, all the heroes that died in issue number 4 come back in issue number 5. So they have these 5 different mutants with 5 different abilities that actually use these gold balls to bring back the heroes that died in issue number 4. So I've read it twice. I read it twice, right? I read it the first day I got it. This was the first book that I read, guys. I read it. I haven't read X-Men since the late 90s. Yo, Super Russ, I think House of X is a great jumping on point. I think it's doing a great job of starting things from scratch and giving you a general understanding of what's going on. They do throw out a lot, and I think picking it up in trade would probably be a really good idea, right? So you can read it all in one shot. But all those heroes are back. The only thing I do not like about just willy-nilly, hey, send this person on a suicide mission, and just like that, we can bring these heroes back. That's the only thing I don't like. Now it seems like any mission that a X-Men goes on, it's like nothing who cares what happens to them, because you know that on the island of Krakoa, they could just grow the hero back. So as we know from mutants and from X-Men, not everything always goes as planned, right? At some point, something's going to happen. And I think Goldballs is really going to be, he's going to be key to that. I think somebody's probably going to figure out what they're doing and take out one of those 5. And I wish I could remember, and I'm going to I'll open it up and tell you what are the names of these 5 heroes that can just, all willy-nilly just bring these people back. And let's see. So as you can see right there are the 5 heroes coming in to do the job. So we got Fabio Medina, who is Goldballs. We got Proteus, Elixir. We have Eva Bell, which is the first time I've actually heard that name. I'm not entirely sure if this is her first appearance. It probably isn't. And then Hope Summers, right? So those 5 together have the ability to resurrect kind of, or create these X-Men. And then the last little bit is, yes, these X-Men, they come back to life, but they need a way to be able to like kind of put their mind and their soul back in. And that's where Professor X comes in. You continue on with the story. Do you use that blue tape to tell what is special about the book? No, man, I sure don't. That's just to tape the issues. It's easier to pull off, especially with books that have been taped for a long time. If you try to pull the tape off of them, it always seems so difficult. But yeah, all my books are taped with the blue tape. If you look at like some of these older books that I've got here, like this one has just like regular tape, and sometimes these, like, they've been taped on there for so damn long that it's hard to pull that tape off. The trade is probably what I'll go for. I hear the individuals are hard to get. Yeah, they are getting really hard to get. So at the end of House of X, issue number 5, something that I really did really like about reading it is that this island of Krakoa, right? They have become their own nation of mutants, and they're not stopping mutants from coming in, right? They're taking anybody, heroes, villains. If you're in the middle, it doesn't matter. And at the very end of this issue, we see super villains from the past, like Apocalypse, like you see on there. They're coming into the island. Professor Xavier and Magneto have given them an ultimatum. You can come be with us, but you have to live the way we are telling people, to live in peace on this island. And Apocalypse, blue tape rules, for show. And Apocalypse and Charles Xavier like shake hands. That's pretty much the very end of it. So it looks like Apocalypse and the rest of these villains that have come onto the island are going to play by the rules for now. We'll see. Like I said, not everything that happens with mutants ends well. They haven't had the best track record of being able to live peacefully. I use Scotch tape. Oh man, look, check it out. I know DMZ, right? You're across the pond in London or in England. I don't know if you have a store where you can just go pick up this 3M blue tape, right? This painter's tape. But I buy this for what, like $3, I think, at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's very cheap. And this will last me a very, very long time, unless the wife wants to go and paint part of the house, which that's why it's so low. We painted part of the house. But I've enjoyed House of X. Powers of 10, not as much, because I think in Powers of 10, man, they throw a lot at you. And that one takes like 3 or 4 times reading it to really understand and grasp the concept that they're giving to you. But I've enjoyed it, guys. That's it, though, from my new comic book day pickups and review. DC, Marvel, picked up 4. I really enjoyed everything that I got. Some were better than others. That Flash Forward issue number 1, I probably won't be picking up issue number 2. But everything else, I think I'm going to continue on having it on my pull list. Best tape for comic package. Yeah. So anytime that you want to send packages, the blue tape is really good for that too. Because I've gotten packages with this tape, and it is a mother to take that tape off. I'm scared actually that I'm going to ruin the book using that tape. So guys, thanks for joining. I'm going to be doing this on Fridays, every Friday, usually around between 1 and 2. Today was a little bit later because I had a class that I had to get to. So it was a little bit later. But thank you for joining, guys. My next show will be Tuesday afternoon. I'll go over my comics to pick up for Wednesday, but I should be back on Buy or Pass on Tuesday night. So Tuesday afternoon, I'll kind of go over some of my lists, and then Tuesday evening, I'll be on Buy or Pass. And as always, I'm dropping these new comic book day pickups and review. This weekend, if you are in the San Antonio, over here across the pond, that's what I thought, man, DMZ. I don't know if it's blue, it's just white. Hey, as long as it's painter's tape, man, it ain't got to be blue. I've seen green tape out there. Green tape, for some reason, is more expensive. I don't know, like Gorilla tape, I think they call it, or something, but it's still the same crap. So this weekend, if you're in the San Antonio area, man, we have a Comic-Con in town. Friday, it starts today, Saturday, and Sunday. Big Texas Comic-Con. I will be there with my homeboy, Alan. So if you watched yesterday's video on my Amazing Spider-Man haul, Alan's the guy that hooks me up with all the really badass books, guys. So he'll be there with me. We're going to be hunting together. So if you are there and you see me and Alan, dude, come by, say hi. Let's talk comics. Let's go hunting together. I'm always down to do that. For sure, always here to support the Jabroni. Thanks, guys, for all the support. I feel much love, man. So we're hitting that hour mark. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Have a great weekend. And remember, there's a Comic-Con in San Antonio. So come on down and say hi to Edwin the Comic Jabroni. Until next time, peace.